Okay, I'm going to talk about how to mount a sculpture to a piece of wood. This is pretty much the simplest base you could come up with. It's sort of a modern look that I think was born out of Grecian torsos, ancient torsos that are broken and then mounted on a different base. Sometimes you'll see that in a gallery in the ancient section. So what I did first today, I was kind of scrambling for a piece of wood because I needed this in a hurry, and my neighbor had some old pressure treated 6x6 posts. So I just cut it into a block. I'd say when you're trying to decide how tall to make these, make sure the foot, if you can imagine where her foot would be, make sure at least your block is that big or a little bigger. But I find if you make the base too tall, then the piece, it sort of overtakes the piece. So you still want her to be the star, not the block. So the first thing I did was cut this to size. I didn't really measure it. I just cut it in half, the scrap that I had. So this one's a little bit taller than this one, I think. And then I sanded the crap out of it with one of these cheapo Ryobi sanders, just getting the edges and, all over the place. Just so to the touch, there's no splinters for the customer. Just get it smooth. And again, it's a little bit of personal touch, but personal preference. But just get it so the edge is a little beveled. That's my advice. And then one mistake I made, I'll share with you, is I varnished this, or I stained this one first. And the problem with that is you still have to drill your hole. So like, see, each of these has a steel pipe going up into the body, and that's what's gonna support her. And again, it's a little bit dangerous, this connection point. I will epoxy that into place. So I would recommend drilling your hole before you stain. Okay, that's what I'll do with this one. And as far as stain goes, I like this mini wax wood finish gunstock is the color. Gunstock, it's a little reddish, but not quite as red as, let's say, cherry, red cherry or cedar or something like that. So the reason I say it's okay to have some red, oh, there I go again. See, I'm getting a stain on my sculpture there. The reason I say the red is okay, because pressure treated wood is kind of greenish, so they're gonna mix. They're gonna mix together and dull each other. So if you're using pressure treat, which is pretty common for 6x6, ideally you'd want some exotic wood or something really cool, but I've found that it's not necessary. So do your stain first. I would let that dry, and then tomorrow come in with a polyurethane if you're okay with that. You could also use a wood sealer or maybe some kind of oil like teak oil or tung oil. People use different things. So I would do, completely finish your base and then mix up your epoxy. I like to drizzle it in the hole, get it around the pipe, and then, I put it in. Whoops, let's see. I didn't drill that. I have to drill that one a little deeper. I put it in with the glue in there, and it's usually called 5-minute epoxy, and I will hold it. I'll stand there and make sure it's in the exact right position. And as it starts to dry, then I let go. But I don't let go till I know it's in the right position. And as you can see, this is a very finicky thing because you don't want her looking like she's tipping back or tipping forward. So you may have to re-drill that hole at an angle to get it just right. The placement of this hole, the angle and the depth of that hole is really important when it comes to these torsos floating on one connection point. So it's kind of a tricky thing to do, but it looks really cool when it's done. So I just wanted to give you that information. Again, gunstock, wood stain. You could thin it out with some some mineral spirits if you don't like how dark this is. You could put it on and wipe it off. I noticed the first coat really, it just absorbs into the wood like crazy. So some people like to wipe it on with a rag and experiment that way. You could get a whole bunch of scrap wood pieces, try different stains before you do anything before you cut them or decide what to do with them. But I have found success selling these, and this, just full disclosure, this was one of my first torsos I ever made a mold of, and it was from a figure study, which I had done the entire figure from head to toe. I think it was a demo from one of my classes that I finished. And, I've sold, gosh, I wish I did accounting, maybe 25 of these over the years. And I think I sculpted this probably 10 years ago. So the lesson there, I don't tell that to you to brag. I'm just saying that, if you do a good study, you'll end up selling it eventually. But when you're doing your study, don't think about selling. Think about studying nature, and then the clients will show up. A little bit of an idealistic way of thinking, but it's worked for me so far. Alrighty, good luck.